Hey, this is Rod Cleef, and you are listening to the Mailbox Money Show with Bronson Hill.
Welcome to the Mailbox Money Show. I am pretty excited. I've got Cliff Avril, who's a former NFL star, here on the show. You may not have heard of Cliff, but if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, you definitely have heard of Cliff because he was a part of the first and only Seattle Seahawks NFL championship Super Bowl win back in, I'm going to get this wrong, 2015, 20, anyway, somewhere in there. Anyway, so he has done it exceptionally well. It's actually kind of proven that most NFL stars, something like 85%, go bankrupt within 5 years. Well, he has not only not gone bankrupt, he's turned his wealth into a real estate empire, has over 100 units, almost all his own units. And basically, he's done an amazing job. So he gets in a lot of mindset stuff here on what it takes to be successful, both in his career in the NFL and how that translate over into being a successful investor. So one thing I really got out of this is just kind of who you surround yourself with and how you kind of go from one success in one area to be able to be successful in another area. So let's jump in for Cliff Avril. All right, welcome to the Mailbox Money Show. I'm super excited to have Cliff Avril with me. I've been a big Seahawks fan for years. It's no secret. Grew up in Seattle and just loved cheering on the Legion of Boom and part of the defensive secondary this guy was a part of, and just love. Really excited that you're on the show, man.
Appreciate you having me, man. I look forward to talking some ball and some real estate.
Yeah, so we met recently. We met at Limitless, which is my friend Ken McElroy's event, and it was a great event. Really had a great time. I spoke on a panel there, which was fun, and got to meet you. And so I'd heard you were in the space. We have a mutual friend, Leica, who's up in Seattle, and of course my brother. I think, ironically, like he had a jersey signed by you, and he was going to get it signed a second time, and realized, hey, I already signed this thing or something. So it's kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I love with your story. I'd love to. We're going to get into some of your story and kind of how you made this transition. And I think, as I was talking before we were started recording, that a lot of athletes, it's similar. I think in a lot of ways to people that are lottery winners, right? People that didn't really, have not for everybody, for a lot of them. I think something like 80 or 85% of professional athletes go broke within a few years after retiring. And so, a lot of times there's just not a lot of financial education that goes into it. People haven't really developed the skills, and they get in, and of course, you're competing not only on the field but also in the cars and the other things, the lifestyle you got to do as well. But let's hear a little bit of your background. I mean, obviously, you did very well in athletics, and were a phenomenal football player and defensive end. So, just tell us a little bit of your story, kind of how you, how you got started, both in athletics and kind of what led you to now.
Yeah, so I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, well, a city right outside of Jacksonville, Florida, Green Cove Springs, Florida, and Haitian immigrant parents, which is funny to say right now with all the craziness, but just two hardworking individuals that came to the country trying to find an opportunity. I didn't start playing football honestly until high school, which would be considered a late bloomer in comparison to some of my teammates and counterparts. But start playing ball and really just wanted to go to college. Just wanted to go to college, get the opportunity to go to college because I knew my parents wouldn't be able to afford to send me there. And football definitely wasn't the route I thought I was going to go in. I was a big basketball guy, and I thought I was going to, I've been 6'3" since I was 15, so I thought I was going to keep growing. You know what I mean? But as they would say, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. He had a different direction for me, and started playing ball. Went to Purdue University, where I continued to keep playing ball, obviously, and got drafted to the Lions back in 2008. And it's a long time ago, it seems like. Played 5 years there, played 5 years with the Seahawks as well. So I was fortunate enough to play 10 years in the NFL. Got to do a lot of different things, a lot of cool stuff. But while I was on that journey, in the NFL, I knew that right around year six is where I'm like, man, I know I don't have another 6 years left in me. Your body starts feeling the toll a little bit. You just start thinking about life after ball a little bit, because one thing for sure with football is you just don't know when it's going to end.
Right.
Average is less than 3 years in the
Oh, not
NFL.
for long, right? They call it not for long, right?
Not for long, exactly. So you don't know when it's going to end. And when you get to year six, you're like, man, I'm beating the odds already, and you just
Yeah.
start thinking about what are some other things that you're passionate about? Because you spend so much time trying to get better at this one thing. You spend so much of your time trying to, just stay in this moment. But and a lot of athletes, we don't like to think about the future because we feel like it'll come too soon, right?
Right.
Because again, you're fortunate enough to be playing ball for a living in that moment. But at that point for me, that's when I started kind of again thinking about different things, but started going to different workshops that the NFL provided, business workshops, the broadcast boot camps and all these different things, just trying to figure out what else do I like to do? What else am I passionate about? Because this one passion I know someday will end. So to start diving into into those different things. And then just honestly having different conversations with people in the locker room, which isn't very common at all in the NFL, but really anywhere. Nobody really talks about investing. Nobody really talks about money moves and different things like that in the locker room. But fortunately for me, I had people like Marshawn Lynch, I had
Mm.
Michael Bennett, Brandon Meebang, Red Bryant. All these guys were very in tune with their finances and kind of
Wow.
knowing what's going on. Yeah. So we would talk about finances all the time, just different investments and understanding those things. And so that kind of sparked the whole real estate thing for me. And
Yeah.
and then, once I retired, tried a few different things and real estate just kept calling me.
That's awesome. So I love it. So, I suppose on Marshawn Lynch, the beast mode,
Yeah.
so I remember seeing, of course, I don't know him personally. I think like, I'm sure you know him. He seems like a great guy, but I didn't realize he's into real estate as well. He's doing a fair amount of investing and stuff, and
Yeah, yeah. No,
amazing.
Marshawn, and this is one thing football has taught me in general. And what I love about football is, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
Can we come together to play for one common cause, right? And we
Yeah.
all are in this one room all the time, and we just respect one another because it doesn't matter. None of those things matter because we all had to put work in to get here, right? And with Marshawn in particular, if you stereotypical type of situation, if you looked at him, you would not think that he is this bright guy. But Marshawn is one of the smartest guys you'll meet from a
Wow.
business standpoint. I mean, he has all kinds of different business ventures going. He's very much into real estate, and he's one of the first people that honestly put me onto kind of the different things that he was doing in real estate, which
Yeah.
again sparked my interest.
Right. Well, I think that's, Cliff, it's something that I've realized just, in my life and other people's lives. It's like, there are mentors around. Like if we're paying attention, if we ask, if we seek, and this is not stuff we're taught in school. I mean, nobody, I don't know anybody. I mean, I think one time we did a paper kind of fake trading thing for stocks when I was in sixth grade. But that was the only thing I learned really about finance, like all through like K through 12. And it's
Yeah,
unfortunate because it really, I think our school system really teaches people how to, go to school, get a job, get an education, whatever. But these are not the ways people become wealthy. Everybody I know that's wealthy, they did it through real estate, they did it through businesses or a combination of the two. And there's
mhm.
that saying too, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's how it works in my
Yeah.
life. But for you, so what was it about you that I guess you realize, right? You're 6, you kind of said, hey, did you have other relatives that were doing real estate, or how did you just kind of looked around, you saw Michael Bennett, you saw, I know Doug Baldwin's a friend too. He's doing stuff in that space, and
Yeah.
you kind of saw these guys doing stuff and you're like, I should start looking at this too.
No, so fortunately being here in Seattle, you just get introduced to a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Obviously
Yeah.
winning the Super Bowl helps quite a bit
Yeah.
to get that type of exposure, but there's a lot of wealthy people in Seattle. A lot of
Yeah.
wealthy people, a lot of people doing some really, really cool things. And I've just been fortunate enough to meet a lot of people, and whether they have sold their companies for, crazy amounts of dollars to guys that are CEOs of said companies or whatever. And one thing that just kept coming up was they owned real estate. I'm like, man, but you sold this tech company. Why are you buying real estate? And just having those conversations, and it just sparked my interest, right? It just sparked my interest in understanding, just wanting to know more. I've always been that type of guy where even in the locker room, even in classrooms, whatever it may be, like I'm always paying attention to how people are moving and the people that I want to kind of emulate, right? When I got into the locker room as a rookie, I paid attention to how the vets were moving around in the locker room. Man, why are they jumping in the cold tub after practice? Why are they stretching before they do this? Why are they eating the
Mhm.
way they eat? Because one day I want to be that vet, right? So it's
Yeah.
the same thing when it came down to real estate is like, okay, or just understanding what I want to do next, but real estate in particular, I wanted to surround myself and pay attention to what those folks were doing. So I would love, fortunately, again, just some of the different success that I had on the football field, it allowed me to be one phone call away from some of these guys to just be able to pick their brain. You know what I mean? Pick their brain
Yeah.
on why they're doing what they're doing, how they get this far, how like what's their game plan on how they're moving. And people love to share. People
Yeah.
love to share their journey. So I'm here to listen.
It's amazing too when you have a platform like that, like you've been a football star and you've been a Super Bowl champion. It opens up access to different people. It opens up things that people want to meet you, they want to talk with you. And then if you are in the room, it's not just like, a lot of people do that and just kind of be in the room and enjoy the party or whatever, but you're like thinking, hey, how can I leverage this? And I think that's always like good networkers always do that. They're always thinking, hey, I'm in the room with this person. Like, well, let me ask them about this over here and see how I can improve my
Mhm.
life. I think that's great. I wanted to know, you have over 100 units now, 100 units in the Seattle area. You're in Huntsville, Alabama. You actually mentioned Jacksonville, Florida. We have some properties there as well. Is this mostly multifamily? Are you doing a mix of different types of properties? Tell us a little about your real estate portfolio.
Yeah, so no, we're mainly focused on small multifamily properties, 20 to 100 units, and it's all value add. I started off, it's funny. So I start off typically how everybody else starts off, right? We start off with a single family, and then you maybe
Right.
go to another single family, and then kind of go from there. So I started off with a condo that I rent out to players that I still own today. Then I bought another condo again that I rent out to players. I'm like, okay, I kind of understand this. Then I bought a 3 unit. Then from there, I bought a 56 unit or 58 unit and kind
Wow.
of kept scaling from there. And it's all multifamily. I like the multifamily space more so than single family because you have a little bit more you're hands-on a little bit more as far as for the control of the value of the property, right? So I like that component of it. And then I like the value add piece as well, where I'm able to go in and force appreciation in a sense, right? Put some sweat equity in, but force appreciation, being able to refinance and hold on to the buildings for the long haul. So yeah, multifamily is the name of the game for me. I'm continuing trying to scale.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think one thing I admire about you, Cliff, is that you even described a little bit earlier in the interview, just where you would look at people on the business side, you look at people that were veterans playing, and you're just continually trying to see what other people are doing and what you can implement yourself. Um, I was going to ask you in real estate. Obviously, you go from a couple of condos and a 3 unit to 56. That's a big jump. What would
Mhm.
you say the bigger difference has been from going from the small 3 unit up to the 56? Are you self-managing, or kind of just love to know about kind of that process for you, how that's been?
No, so I am not self-managing. We have third-party property management, but we also have an asset manager as well that kind of communicates with them on the weekly. But I think the biggest thing for me in with the real estate space is understanding that real estate is very much a team sport, right?
Right.
It's all about the people you surround yourself with. It's all about the people you partner yourself with. And again, I'll probably say this throughout the interview, but a lot of similarities to football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I cannot have success without my guys next to me. I can't have success without Michael Bennett. I can't have success without Richard Sherman, Marshawn, all those guys. Like I was very much a team player, and I understood that we all needed one another. So it's the same concept that I implement in my business today is making sure that I surround myself with the right folks, have the right teammates to be able to make sure that they're good at what they do, and I'm going to try to be good at what I do, and that's how we all have success. So I've been fortunate enough to partner up with the right folks to be able to continue to keep moving forward in this real estate space.
Yeah, that's great. So we have a lot of people, they call the Mailbox Money Show. And so we have people that are interested in getting into, passive investing, getting into doing things, more in real estate. And we do a lot of larger multifamily and give people opportunities to do it. But what would you say, whether you're talking to a retired or even a current NFL player, or I guess, what are those conversations like when they ask you about what you're doing in real estate? Because I'm sure that comes up a lot. Like, well, how do I get started, man? You've done this. Like, how do I do this?
It does. It does. Actually, somebody DM me recently, a current player DM me recently and was asking about that same thing. Like, hey man, I see what you're doing. I see kind of you're making moves or whatnot. Like how can I get involved? Like what do I need to do? What can I do to get more information and knowledge and whatnot? And what was the process like? And I'm first thing I'm telling them, one, the fact that you're thinking about it while you're still playing is key.
Yeah.
Take full advantage of it during the off season because I think one of the things we all, and I was guilty of it too early in my career, is we think our off season is so short, so we don't want to go sit in a classroom. We don't want to go to a conference because it is fairly short in the sense of, time downtime. You maybe get a month off from actually working out and different things like that. But within that time, you still can do other things. So go take a course for 3 or 4 days. Go meet with different individuals for, a weekend or whatever to just get the knowledge, get the information. And then at some point, you're going to have to go implement it, right? But I'm quick to tell them, hey, just get the information. Stop listening to Drake and Kendrick Lamar and like listen to some podcasts, right?
Right.
And so just it's all about the information. Another thing I'm quick to tell them too is, man, go get the it's like the holy grail for investing, starting off, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Go read that book, and that will just get you in the right mindset of finances first and foremost, and then start implementing some of these other things that you're reading and listening to. So those are some of the different things that I would tell the guys. Even when I was in the locker room, as a veteran player, myself and Michael Bennett, 6 a.m. workouts. We're playing, audiobooks. We're playing Rich Dad Poor Dad. We're playing Richest Man in Babylon. We're playing all these different audiobooks. Guys aren't trying to hear it in the moment, but hopefully, a few guys they gravitate towards the information and try to seek more.
Yeah, we talk about it. Really, there's two things that help people to get where they want to go. It's the education, which you mentioned. It's the books, it's the listening, it's the going to the event, the learnings, and then there's the networking. Right, you are around people that were at the next step. And sometimes, if you're not a professional athlete, maybe you have to pay to be in rooms where you're going to masterminds or going to events like Limitless or other things, and you're just around people that are doing these next level things. You're like, hold on, how are you doing this, or what's going on? And so I found that that's just been super valuable. So for you, I guess with your network now, obviously you have network with some of these guys. Are you still trying to get around people that are 1, 2, 3 levels ahead of you? And what's some of the learning that you're doing now?
Always, always. I mean, we were just at Limitless, and I'm walking around, just trying to meet different folks. I'm going to another conference here soon, so I try to go to 3 or 4 conferences a year. Just one, I want to be in that environment. One, I want to know what people are thinking, how people are moving in certain markets as well. I want to be a sponge. I always want to be around people that are doing better than me, and I just want to sit there and listen. I don't have to say much. I'm rarely someone that's going to be out there. Hey, I'm such and such and doing all these different things. I just want to hear from the folks that are doing it at a high level, because there is a lot of fluff out there too, right? There's a lot of folks that are saying they're doing things and they're gurus and they're all this other stuff, but don't own any assets, right? They're just kind of selling a dream. So I think for me, it's all about just, again, just being around folks that are actually in the space. When I was playing ball, I wanted to be around all the veteran players. Like I said, I want to be around the greats to see what their mindset is like, what moves are they working on, how their off season are going. It's no different how I approach real estate right now, and making sure that I'm surrounding myself and being around those that are doing it.
That's it. And I think your work ethic obviously is what's made you successful in real estate as well. Whenever you, and this is what I tell a lot of people that are professional in one area or they have some success in one area. So you can bring that to investing. You take the skills that you've learned. I'm sure, with your training regimen, all the things there's just a checklist of things you got to do. And it's the same with this, is just figure out what your parameters are and what you're going to buy and what the diligence and just doing the work. And then you figure it out along the way. Well, let's talk for a minute about real estate. I know as we're recording this, mid-September, and it's they're talking about dropping rates a little bit potentially. What are you seeing right now in the market? Are you still buying? Are you kind of just waiting to see how things are going to go? Are you fully deployed? Like, I'd love to know kind of what you're thinking going forward as far as real estate.
So again, I think with interest rates coming down, I think that's great news collectively, because there has definitely been a misunderstanding between sellers and buyers and value and different things like that based on the interest rates. Some people are still living out the 2021, 2022 dreams with the value of their properties and stuff like that. But for me, I think there's opportunities in every market, right? It's a numbers game at the end of the day to me. So I'm constantly looking. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to buy just to be buying, but again, it's a numbers game, and you stick to your criteria, you stick to your game plan, right? And if nothing fits those in that moment, you still keep looking, but you don't change them just because. I think that's the biggest thing with the discipline component of it, right? Is do you want to go out there on Saturday night, or are you going to sit and rest, right? It's the same concept in real estate. Like, hey, like, are you going to change your criteria because it seems like it's a good deal, or are you going to stick to your guns and I'm not going to buy this? I'm going to stay disciplined to this, right? And I think if you don't stay disciplined to it, it's easy to fall into a trend of doing things that you don't like doing or you wouldn't normally do based on the circumstances, right? I mean, a few years back, everyone was buying with bridge debt, and to me, it didn't make sense in the sense of I like fixed debt. Like I like knowing what my fixed rate is going to be. Not really realizing like, okay, it can swing really quick. I just like knowing, hey, every month this is what my mortgage payment is going to be,
Right.
and not one day it triples in a few months span or whatever, right? So that's just sticking to your guns. So to answer your question, getting back to your question is, I'm always looking. I'm always looking to acquire, as long as the deal makes sense, as long as the numbers make sense, and it fits my buy box.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that's a big deal of just being available and being ready. And there's the great deals in every market, but there's certain times that things are better. And I love what you said about fixed rate debt. We got in a couple of deals that were bridge debt, and we got in a little bit of trouble with that. And I think there's some learning there and things that we learn. And so that's the whole thing too, is that all of this is education, all of it's learning. It's all,
Mhm.
I think that there's the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. The fixed
Yeah.
mindset is if something fails, then I'm a failure. And if something, versus growth is, hey, everything's information, everything's learning. In my book, I talk about I lost $70,000 in one day in an options trading strategy, right? So I
Yeah.
learned I'm not a good options trader. I should stick
Yeah.
to real estate and do things that I'm better at. So awesome, man. Well, I so appreciate it. I'd love to talk a little bit more, just in a couple more minutes. Talk more about you had a big sack in the Super Bowl. You brought home the first or the only the Super Bowl to
Championship.
Seattle. So
Mhm.
I know the Seattle fans, we all love you for that. But can you share anything just about your time, with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson and all these guys, Michael Bennett and Marshawn, just any of the things that takeaways you're like, these were kind of these couple of moments that really made a big impact on me just in general in life.
Oh man, I learned so much through my 10 years in the NFL in general, but those 5 years that I spent here in Seattle, I learned so much that I still live by and I still implement to this day. Coach Carroll being the coach that he was amazing because it was different from what I was used to, in a sense of, you know, he understood that you will get the best out of your players not by instilling fear, but making sure that they're comfortable being who they are. Now, that
Mm,
person still has to have the discipline every single day to go put work in, but understanding that you're going to get the best out of your players if you just allow them to be themselves and have fun, right? So I kind of approach my business the same way, in the sense of like, I'm not going to be uptight about things. I'm going to make sure, you enjoy what you do. But the expectation is still there, right? So he was really good at that. And then you talk about my teammates, from Marshawn to Michael Bennett, Richard Sherman, I mean, Cam Chancellor, all these guys, we all had
yeah.
the mindset of understanding that we didn't want to be the weakest link.
Mm,
That's what made us so great. We didn't want to be, nobody wanted to be the weakest link. Nobody wanted to let the next person down, the person next to them down, right? And I think that's what forced us to be great. That's what forced us to compete. Like, that's just competing at its finest. Although we love you, Michael Bennett, I love you. You're a brother to me. But I want to get more sacks than you. That's just what it is. Like, I want, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
yeah,
just what it
yeah,
is. So if I'm competing to go get 10 sacks a year, he's competing to go get 10 sacks a year, it just makes the entire team that much better. Right.
yeah,
So that's my approach, and that's my approach with business as well. Like, I'm here to compete.
yeah.
I want people that want to compete in this space. I want my property manager to feel like they want to be the best property manager in the area. I want my asset manager to feel like they're going to be the best asset manager. They're going to get the numbers that they want to hit. They're going to hit the quotas that they want to get to, right? And we're all competing, and but guess what? We all get better, and we all get paid, and we all get to touchdowns. If we put our best foot forward every single day. So those were some of my best years. And again, I implement all those different things mentally to my business today.
Awesome, Cliff. It's such a joy to talk with you, man, for so many reasons. Again, I watched you for years, you and KJ Wright and the whole group, and just,
Yeah.
man, so much fun. So appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking time. I want you to talk about your foundation, how people can follow what you're doing, and if they want to connect.
Yes. Cliff Avril Family Foundation. If you know me, you've probably heard a little bit about some of the different things that we've done with my foundation, from building schools in Haiti to we used to do a football camp in Haiti every year. To I do a wide range of things here in Seattle as well, and I'm actually having my fundraising dinner here coming up in a couple of weeks or whatnot, and it's one of the big missions right now is I have this thing called the Cliffs Crew, and it's 10 boys that I've been mentoring since they were in third grade. Now they're all in eighth and ninth grade, and it's all about exposing them to different opportunities that are here in their own backyard here in Seattle. Because a lot of times, man, you can't dream about things you don't know exist. And for me, it's all about showing all the different things that exist. So we take annual trips to different cities. But one of the examples I like to give is, when you think of the Seattle Seahawks, you think of just the players, right? But there's a whole back office of people that support the players that are a part of the team. And every profession you can think of that's in that facility is there, right? Whether you talk about chefs, doctors, lawyers, accountants, whatever you can think of is in that building. And when we won the Super Bowl, 95% of those people also got a Super Bowl ring as well, because they played a role in the success of the team, right? But again, most kids only think of the players as being a part of that organization. But no, you can be the GM someday. You can be an accountant, a lawyer for the team someday. But you just have to know these things exist. And that's the type of things that, my foundation, my organization tries to do.
That's awesome, Cliff. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that. I encourage everybody to reach out, and I appreciate you being here, Cliff. Hopefully connect with you again in the near future. I'm sure I'll see you at Limitless next year, and maybe would love to make one of your dinners when you have it again in the future. So thanks so much for being here, brother.
I appreciate you having me, man. Thanks.
All right. Well, that was a great interview. I loved chatting. I really enjoyed, you can tell when I'm talking with Cliff, he just really is eager to learn and to grow. And this is really a sign for me of people that are successful, people that are in decline, meaning they're just kind of winding their life down. They tend to not ask questions. They tend to just be content with where they're at. They're not looking to grow. And just with him, I just sense this perpetual growth mindset. And I think for each of us, we can ask ourselves, am I looking to grow? Am I learning? Am I going to conferences? Am I reading books? Am I trying to develop myself? Because developing ourselves is so important. Having that growth mindset. It may be that, hey, we have a failure in one area, but we can turn that into some sort of success somewhere else, or even just a learning, right? So I hope for you that you are taking time to educate yourself, going to great conferences. The Limitless conference we just had was great. There's conferences going all the time about syndication, about investing, about alternative assets, about goals, about your all kinds of things that have just made me a much better person and have really allowed my wealth to grow as well. So hopefully that's something for you've done. If you haven't checked out our investment club, you can check the link below. Or you go to bronsonequity.com, click the join button. We've got some stuff in the pipeline that I am really excited to be able to share with you. And we can't really share it unless you're part of our deal club. So check that out, and we'll look forward to catching you on the next episode of the Mailbox Money Show. You've been listening to the Mailbox Money Podcast. For more free resources, articles, and videos, go to bronsonequity.com. There you can download your copy of the special report, The Single Best Investment Strategy During and After a Pandemic. None of the information shared here is an offer to buy a specific investment, and this is for educational purposes only. Consult your financial, legal, and tax professionals and use your own common sense before making any investment decisions. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to tune in next time for more Mailbox Money.